I'm Ishan, the founder and CEO of Impulse AI. So as mentioned, we're building an autonomous machine learning engineer that essentially owns the entire ML lifecycle, from raw data ingestion to deploy production model in less than an hour by itself. So today, building a simple model using Claude Code or an LLM is actually pretty easy. But a script or a model isn't a production system. The real bottleneck is in the weeks spent validating, making sure the data is good, feature engineering, detecting leaks, and then building inference and monitoring infra. And so what we've done is we've automated the entire loop, so engineers can stop managing infra and models, and they can focus on the business making better decisions. What we've built is a self-improving machine learning engineer agent. So how it works is, instead of just writing the code, which it does, it can execute all the code, it audits the results, and then fixes itself as time goes on. So an example of how it does that, which we'll see in a sec, is imagine you want to predict who's going to win the World Cup, right? World Cup is coming up, FIFA World Cup. The Cricket World Cup is going on right now. So you say, hey, predict who's going to win the FIFA World Cup. Upload some data. It does data analysis, data cleaning, exploratory data analysis, everything that a data scientist would do. Experiments with different models, understands what would work, what would not work, looks up stuff in real time, sets up evaluation benchmarks, and then can go through this loop until it thinks it's working well. And then you can deploy it anywhere. You can work it through our UI. You can deploy an API and put that API into your product. So before we get into the demos, we want to see who's going to win the 2026 World Cup. Now, I really wanted to do this live, but it takes a little bit longer than the time given. So we made a video, and it's been shortened. And this is also actually our next gen product. So this is not what's live on the website. We launched 3 weeks ago with our V1, and it's good. It's good. It works. It helps a data scientist, but it can't replace a data scientist. But this is way better. So the first step here is I'm uploading all this data. So you can see, let me use this. There's like who are the groups, the managers, the teams, the tournament stages, where are they playing, who the referees are, who the managers are, etc. So how we found this data is we actually asked the agent to go find it. We didn't go find it, so there might be some missing data. And then you can ask it to do some data analytics. You can ask it like, hey, I know what I want to build, which is what we picked, or surprise me. So we have like the visualizations on the left and the prompt on the right. So it says, I have this collection of data sets, predict me who's going to win the FIFA World Cup. And so, the first thing it wants to know is like, what do you actually want to know, right? You want a category, we want probabilities. We want to know team A has a 8% chance of winning, team B has 12% chance of winning, etc. And then this is really cool because this is a real data scientist would ask you this question: what matters most? And the reason why that question is important is, in real life, depending on what answer you want, do I want to minimize false positives, or do I care about I don't care about false positives because the business outcome doesn't matter on the false positives. I care about false negatives. The model, you actually have to build the model differently based on what the outcome is. And so it asks that question. You answer that question. General accuracy is what we care about. And now what we have is we actually have a council of agents. We have a business analyst agent, research scientist agent, an engineer agent, a data analyst agent. And so what it does is it creates a plan. You've got data, you've got model training, etc. And so now the first thing we're doing is, you can see up there, is exploratory data analysis, right? So it's going through every single data set of 27 data sets and understanding what that data set means, how it connects to all the other data sets, what the relations are. And you can see now that, like, for one data set, you've got this data quality score, completeness, consistency, if there are non-duplicate properties, are the type consistent, are there a lot of outliers? So it does all this for you, because if one of these goes wrong, you can't build a model. In real life, if your data sucks, your model's gonna suck. I think they actually have a phrase like garbage in, garbage out, I think is the phrase. And so then what it does is it'll create a plan, and it can actually do web search of like what are the best things that exist in the world today, or what's happening in the World Cup, who the managers are, etc. And then it creates a pipeline stage. So now you can see like, hey, it's going to use ELO rating. For those that don't know, it comes from chess, but it's the best way that we have of predicting how strong a team is. It takes into account stuff like goal difference and strength of schedule and stuff like that. Then it's going to do temporal feature engineering, which basically means that like, you want feature engineering for times and point that are closer to you. And then it's going to run 10,000 simulations with all of that. So it creates a model to predict every match, and then it runs 10,000 simulations, which is how you actually get probabilities for March Madness, FIFA, then everyone runs 10,000 Monte Carlo simulations. So you can see that I'm actually not technical in this example. I'm not actually doing anything, asking it to code, or I'm not coding anything, I'm just saying this is what I want. And then now it's executing this entire plan that is created by itself that I approved. And so it'll go through, it's gonna set up the ELO ratings, it'll set up the different models, cat boost, light GBM, etc. It'll go through, and now it's able to predict the top 10 predicted winners. Now, it says Netherlands at 51.7% and then England at 9.5%. And there's no chance that Netherlands has a 51.7% probability of winning, right? If you were to ask me, I'd say Spain probably has the highest chance. But it tells you why. So it'll tell you like, hey, this is my confidence rating. These are the things that are the most important. So ELO differential, away ELO, so that teams that do better on away fields, because the World Cup is not like home versus away. It's in a certain country every year, so that makes a difference. Home goal scored, home ELO, etc. So it picks up what are the factors that go into these probabilities. And then you can see like, hey, there are risk and caveats. So like some of the historical data only goes to 2022 World Cup. Obviously, for 2026, you want to be able to predict what's happening between 2022 and 2026. And like say, a player got hurt playing in the last week, it doesn't pick that up. So there are improvements that we're going to be making on this risks and caveats. And then you can run these predictions. Now we told it, hey, I think these predictions are too high for Netherlands. Let's improve the model. And then it'll redo everything that it just did. So I don't know if you first saw, but like, we started at 7:47 a.m. So this is 7:48. So the first part took like a minute, but then it took like an hour after that. So it takes about, give or take, an hour to go through one loop. Perfect, and that's actually the end of the demo. So what we've done today, our V1, is already performing well on Kaggle. It's top 2.5%. If you guys don't know, Kaggle is a data science website where the top data scientists in the world actually submit. This one, 31,791 submissions, is the one we placed in the top 2.5% today. And this is how the UI works. And then what's on our roadmap, right? MLE Bench is the top benchmark for the best MLE agents in the world. We're going to top that. And then enterprise use cases like autonomous data discovery, deep learning, VPC connections so that you can deploy on your own cloud, getting SOC 2 and HIPAA compliance and stuff like that. Thank you. That's my email if you want to contact me or come talk to me, and I'll happy to take any questions now. Yeah, so on the V1 we launched 3 weeks ago. We have 51 active users, one paying customer, and then we're doing 3 unpaid pilots with or trials with bigger customers that you would consider like mid-market and enterprise. When did you start? We pivoted it and we started working on this in October. Last October? Yeah, like October 2027, yeah.
Is it multimodal now or
it is all text. So it can do all deep learning, tabular, but everything has to be structured data. So we're going to be adding computer vision and unstructured data, but we can't do that today. Yeah.
What are the endpoints you connect to?
What do you mean?
and one data sources, one data warehouse.
Okay, oh yeah. So right now it's all, you can just do Google Sheets and CSV and Excel. But we'll be adding, like, the goal is to be able to add like Snowflake and Databricks and the big warehouses.
And on the output side, is it an API?
Yeah, so you can use the UI. So if you wanted to upload like a batch file, then you can do that, or we auto deploy an API and you can get an API endpoint. Sorry, I know there was a question there.
Unfortunately, that is our time. We got to.
We'll chat later.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you very much.